All right. Got it.
Welcome. Look at that. We have a guest podcaster this week. Hello, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, hello. Happy to be here.
This is it's so fun. It's like what everyone always says, right? Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Can you imagine if someone was like, yeah, I actually fucking hate this,
You
but
really
I'm
uh you really forced this on me and I can't stand you.
here. So both Stu and Weaver are unavailable this week. So we have Adam stepping in, which is great because he's already producing his own content and everything. So we got nice jam-packed show for us today. Got listener questions, got deep dives, controversies galore.
If you invite me over, I'm gonna bring some. So I'm ready.
How very adult of you.
Are we ready?
Cheers. I have a nice red glass of wine here. Why don't we start with your weekend? How was the weekend for you?
It's pretty good. It was pretty quiet. Noel was out of town for a wedding in Philadelphia that
Oh,
I couldn't go to because I was like working. I had this big meeting on Friday, kind of stuck in the office, and so couldn't make it out in time for the wedding out there. So I was flying solo and went and saw Killers of the Flower Moon after a long day at work on Friday night, which was a 3.5 hour movie that started at 7:30.
did you have to
Um,
take a bathroom break during the movie?
no, but my legs were definitely. I like sent it in the chat. Like my legs were for sure like cramping and like falling asleep because like I just been in the office all day and just like I don't know. It was not my most mobile day, but I like just brought two beer. Like I went to the counter. I was like, I know I'm just gonna need like have a long time. So I was like, I'll take two beers, please. And I just like went to my little like seat and just like put them in the cup holders. Um, it was definitely a good movie. Would recommend, but fucking long. Speaking of villains, even in that movie, Evan, the villains have some serious flaws, which is part of the charm, or not, maybe not charm of the movie because it's a pretty horrible story, but like part of the I don't know, part of the taste of it. So
Yeah, a
my
little,
Friday,
little bit of
yeah,
intrigue.
yeah, yeah. Then Saturday, went to my buddy Mason was in town, so Mason and Michael and I
Hell
grinding
yeah.
our way through disc golfing. We
Awesome.
we played in Walnut Creek. There's like a 9 hole that you can just so we just did 2 laps there early Saturday. And then I met up with my mom because it was her birthday, and we went to my grandparents' house in Moraga and had some burritos from Los Ponchos in Pleasant Hill, which was fine. And then not the best
Which was
in food,
fine.
but which was okay. And then like had cake and stuff and just like hung out with my grandparents. We got them this Aura frame, uh, some free advertising here for Aura to the 12 people in this league.
Hashtag sponsor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty cool. It's like it's a digital frame that you then everyone who wants to can have an app and you like upload photos to
That's
it.
cool.
So then it slide shows through, but it's for my 90-plus-year-old grandfather and my grandmother who don't know how to work it. And so like every time I go over there, I'm like, this is how you add photos. No, like you don't want to put those photos on there. Like there's like 10 of these. Like anyway, so it's always fun to do that. And then yeah, Sunday was another relaxing day. Went and grabbed Noel from the airport in the morning, just like kind of relaxed after that. Half watched football, which I'm realizing like when you kind of half watch or watch with less vigor, it like hurts less when Scott beats you on basically Sunday night, Monday night. So
That's really tough. Yeah, you had one of those tough weeks. I mean, putting up
one of those
100.
hope roller coasters, right?
That's what, yeah, Stu was saying last week when Brad had Eckler in the kicker, and he was like projected to lose by a lot, and then those guys were not doing well, and then he ends up losing by like a point or two or something.
Yeah, it was one of those where like he had AJ Brown and I had Jalen Hurts and he had the Philadelphia defense, and basically every big play was going to AJ Brown, and their defense did well, and so he just like outscored Hurts and Swift with those two guys, and it was a bummer. And then the
Yeah.
Niners couldn't stop a leak on Monday. It was crazy. I heard a stat that the Vikings punted like once, so Niners let me down per usual.
They gave me a freaking scare. Jordan, I was so smug going into Monday night. I didn't do this because these are the things that always backfire. But I picked up Akers, just be like, might as well. He's my backup. And I was gonna joke like, oh, should I throw in Akers into my lineup instead of Madison? And then I was not watching the game really at all until things started to get a little dicey for me on Monday night. And I just feel like within the first quarter, Addison had like 2 touchdowns of like 40 plus yards. And then I saw highlights later, and the second one was just like a completely whiffed tackle by that safety. And I was like, are you shitting me?
Yeah. I think that one like put me over the edge because Scott also had like Kirk Cousins. But yeah, that was I don't know. It was a frustrating game to watch. But that was the end of your weekend. How was the start?
Nice segue. I also want to comment that I think we played that Walnut Creek course on the way to Disco Bay in 2020. A group of us, I know Stu and Kurt were there, and Evan was there. And I remember we were like in the parking lot, like we lit up a joint like before the round. And I like the course, definitely shorter and a little more simple, but it's a nice little park. Like I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. That was my first time playing that one. It's definitely not as like varied or like interesting as like the Concord one or the Moraga one, but I don't know. Well, for that I should have scored a lot better than I did, so I intentionally did not share my horrible, atrocious round.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, for every champ photo I give, like half the rounds, I'm like, this is bullshit. Like my eventual scorecard is terrible. So on UDisc, they ask you to review the courses after you play them, and that would be a course where I would say excellent for the space they have, right? It's like you got this much space, like how you gonna put 9 holes here? You make it a loop, and there's some crisscrossing, I think, at the end of the it's fine.
Kind of zigzag at the end, like through it.
My weekend was jam-packed. It was awesome. Weaver got into town Wednesday night for club nationals. So a lot of influx of individuals coming in out of San Diego. Weaver was here Wednesday through Sunday. Bacon also got in on Wednesday, but he was staying with Robin, who's his girlfriend's their team Airbnb, kind of in and out on the weekend. Like he spent like one night, I think, in my place, but the rest of the time he was there. So Weaver and I and Bacon, and then sporadically people would come in and out, but we had a lot of villainous. Weaver actually won the first 6 games. I was 0 yeah, so it was progressively more like frustrating. I did like, however, and this is something that I'd like to implement with our group, is if we have a lot of time together, and maybe this is a unique circumstance because there's only a few of us and we actually enjoy playing villainous, but we said you can't duplicate characters, right? So I have like the old green starter set and then a few expansions and Oogie Boogie, who I just got, who's his own expansion. And so you couldn't duplicate characters. That was kind of fun, like, I don't know, going through like your preferred characters, but then like I lost like 6 in a row, and now all of a sudden I'm getting into like the secondary or like tertiary characters I never play, and I'm like, well, this could easily steamroll to like another few losses. Eventually I got some wins, but that was fun, getting a lot of villainous in. Let's see.
I think I think that's a good idea. I think you and the people that you play with are the ones who can implement that, since I can't remember the last time I played like 3 villainous games in a row.
Right. I think it was the perfect storm of like tiny amount of people, a lot of like downtime, right? Like, of course, like we were working, but Friday was basically off for both of us. And Weaver was like, he went to Club Nationals to watch Caitlin, and they ended up getting 5th, but they had their best day in their pool where they went undefeated. But after that, he didn't go back out there, and I didn't go out at all. And Bacon was there basically Friday and Saturday watching Noise play, which is the team that Robin plays on, mixed from Madison. And they actually went over until the very last game where they won. So they got 15th, beating San Francisco Mischief. So Mischief got 16 out of 16. But anyway, that was cool to have them around Saturday night. And actually, while this is happening, Chelsea is dog sitting through Rover. So she is like staying at a house that's like a very short like drive away, like 10 minutes in an adjacent community. So Saturday night we went over there and did this big taco grilling where Weaver and I went to this like Mexican market that day and got like a bunch of carne asada and marinated chicken. And they actually had like a tortilla making station within this store. I was my mind was blown because I had never been inside this place before. It's called Pancho Villa, but it was legit. And like they literally had like the longest line in the entire store was people waiting for these fresh tortillas.
Mm.
And there's these two like abuelas just like making these tortillas and feeding them through the machine and then like putting them on this like rotating stove and flipping them over and then throwing them into plastic bags and like handing them to a person. And they're such in high demand, you can only get one bag per customer. It's like you can't like double dip on these tortillas. So anyway, I'll be going back there very soon. So that was Saturday. Sunday, a lot of football. Weaver and I made some nachos with the leftovers. He had to leave during the second round of games. But standard football Sunday. It was really funny for Weaver because like within the first like 10 minutes, he got long touchdowns from Ford and somebody else. This is actually in the same time frame where you had your long downs touchdown, I think.
Yeah.
But like he like immediately was like to the moon. Whereas like I said in the group mail, like it's been 10 minutes. I got no points through 10 minutes. So my week's over. And we know how that ended up. Foreman, thank you, Bacon. Oh, it's so funny. Bacon was here, obviously, and he was lamenting how he had dropped Foreman because he obviously exploded. So anyway, great to have the guys here and spend time with them. And full weekend. My heart is full with friendship.
Nice. Did you say this is your last year playing club?
I've been considering, I don't know. Now I'm in this weird, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out stage of my life, right? It's like I think about not doing it, and then like tryout season for like Growlers comes around. I'm like, well, what the fuck else am I gonna do? And then I do that, and then club season is very easy to roll into after that. And there's always the promise of like, oh, maybe some guys that I'm coaching will try and play club, and that's fun. And now there's actually a huge controversy about Condors again because we all know about the merger that happened when now they're the SoCal Condors instead of the Santa Barbara Condors. Well, the past few years, they've really underperformed, and there's a large San Diego contingent on this Condors team. And Skipjack played Condors in the third place game. And so now you have these guys on the Condors who are talented players who are like, I just spent $2 more grand that I would have if I had played on Skipjack to end up in the same game. And so now there's whispers of these guys coming back to the San Diego team. And so if that happened, then I would be motivated to play because then there's that like carrot of going to nationals. So I don't know. We can talk in like 6 months and see how I'm feeling. It definitely is tough. Like, man, so I hurt my ankle before regionals, and then I like gutted through it with the brace and a bunch of like strong meds. And then I've done like nothing physical since then. I went on a run yesterday and had to like stop running during it just because like my cardio is shit. And I got some of like the like runners like gut going on because I didn't properly prepare. And so just the concept of like getting back into relative Frisbee shape, and you never can be in the shape you want to be in. And I can never be in the shape that we were in like 2019, where the Santa Barbara group was like going to the gym in the morning twice a week and getting our like asses kicked by this personal trainer. Like that was like the pinnacle. And then it's like impossible to reach that pinnacle again unless I had a huge lifestyle change. So it's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
It's a lot to consider. That being said, I'm unsure what I would do if I didn't play Frisbee. I mean, there's a lot of things to do in the world, of course. Travel with Chelsea being forefront of the mind. But TBD is the answer to your question.
Sounds good. Sounds like a lot of intrigue, a lot of scheming, a lot of
ins, a lot of outs. Yeah.
But remember, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win
or you die. Yeah. Eventually everybody dies. So yeah. You have any fun Halloween costume ideas or plans?
Costume ideas or plans? We have a whole like Halloween themed kind of thing we're doing this weekend where we're heading out to kind of do like some apple picking one day. We're doing big pumpkin patch day another day, and then we also do
apple picking and pumpkin patch. Damn.
Yeah, getting our full fall in, and then also we like do like a bunch of like movie marathon stuff. So we kind of have a whole thing planned where it'll be like kind of running around and also bunkering down different times. So nothing like I mean, nothing be no dressing up. I'm bummed because we're like in a apartment building that doesn't have a lot of kids, and then the kids don't go like door to door. It's not really conducive to that. You've seen
Right.
have
Mhm.
you been you've seen the elevator, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
I spent some time on that couch.
so yeah, you did, right. And so like yeah, anyway, so it kind of takes a little bit of the magic away, but try to recreate it.
That's plans enough. Although according to Stu, pumpkin patches are mid. So uh,
Stu, everything's mid, you just you can't win. What about you? Do you have any plans?
we're hosting a party on Friday that was supposed to be like max 20 people, and that was like ballooned to like maybe 30 people. And so this is with the background of like Chelsea dog sitting. So I've been kind of like not yet scrambling, but like every day I've been doing like party related stuff. Like I went to Vaughn's and got like plates and napkins and like platters, and Chelsea decorated the house. And so that's gonna be the culmination of our holiday stuff. I last night rewatched The Nightmare Before Christmas because I'm going to be a version of Jack Skellington. Weaver and I went to Spirit Halloween when he was here over the weekend, and I got a mask and some like skelly fingers. So that's the extent of our plans. And then Monday, which is the 30th, I think, Chelsea and I are flying to Maui with her parents. So we're
Wow.
actually going to be on the island of Maui for Halloween. I'm trying to think of what like a easy costume I can bring in like my suitcase. I have actually like my Anakin Skywalker cloak, which I might just do that. We'll see.
You could be like you could
TBD.
be like super vacationer, like so that it's kind of like
That's my costume.
super Hawaiian, like fake big camera, big like sunglasses, like oversized sunglasses. You could be like, but that might be a lot of stuff to pack. I'm spitballing.
No, that's good. I like literally I have like a toothless onesie from How to Train Your Dragon, but that actually takes up a inordinate amount of space in a luggage. Like it's so poofy.
Yeah.
So your suggestion reminds me of when Stu and I played Slow Hats the year that he dressed as like a tourist in Santa Barbara, and he put the pillow underneath his shirt. And so he like was running around with his pillow in his shirt, like sprinting back when he could actually sprint. And that was awesome.
Oh, that sounds so sweaty. Like tough.
We got a lot to get through.
Yeah.
So next segment, this is by listener request. They were clamoring for it. Week 7 in review. So what we did last time, and actually I can share my screen here as Stu did last week. That's not the screen I should be sharing. Share my screen here. Desktop 2. All right, what oh, there we go. So I think we pop into each one of these matchups. We give like our high level take, and then we go to the next one, and then we move on. Sound good?
Cool.
All right. So we'll start with my own. I talked about Jordan Addison giving me a heart attack on Monday night. I think Weaver actually posted this in the group me, like Jordan Addison is him. Like this was kind of his coming out game. Of course, you're a directly affected manager of Justin Jefferson, whose those targets are now funneling to the other pass catchers in his offense. Hockencock did not practice today, and he got injured in this game on Monday night. So this could even be, I don't know, I don't want to say the floor, but like even more targets could be sent towards Addison's way. So this was my biggest takeaway. Like I said, I was feeling pretty smug, and then Monday night came around, and Addison exploded.
Yeah. I mean 128 to 111. It's another I feel like Max has also kind of scored a decent amount and gotten kind of short into some matchups, which is how I feel. So I'm gonna say tough loss. But I guess, dude, watching Derek Carr on Thursday night was so frustrating. Like somehow he outscored Tua, but I don't know. I feel like he's lost all faith in New Orleans for sure. Good to see like Saquon back after he's like kind of started a little bit rocky with the injuries. You're definitely plugging holes with 4-man inside you. So
Dude, somebody, I think was it Weaver? Someone like mentioned that team name to me recently. You should change it to this and Bill. So it's funny that you're like a second person who's mentioned it. Shout out Bill on your legendary team name. Uh, yeah, I feel lucky. Again, I was very smug, and then I won by this margin, and it was due to Foreman exploding, right? Just kind of my plan the entire time, and this is maybe getting away from the purpose of this portion of the segment, but in the draft, I focused heavily on receiver, and I was like, I'll just like play the waiver wire for running backs, and hopefully it'll work out. So that was a week that it worked out.
Well, that's a week where it worked out. I mean, you can't get 30 from a waiver wire pickup is pretty abnormal. So
This is the second week I
down the
put him.
strategy would be.
Last week he only got 7 points.
Right.
So yeah, this was, and then we'll see what he gets this week. He was going to be in my lineup, but Johnson is back, so it could be back to like 7 points. We'll see. Next matchup, we got Pebs, who cannot win a game to save his life, and Stu, who actually high spotted the league. Talking about Derek Carr, Kamara was getting peppered with targets. It was crazy to watch like the snap go off, the receivers run, and then Carr just to like rifle like 3 to 5 yard pass at Kamara and see what happened. Were you the one you were the one that was like, is he gonna get 100 targets this game? Or 100
he had like his 7th reception with like 3 minutes left as they're like driving in the second quarter. And I was just like, how many targets? I think I said like 20. I don't think he got that, but I mean, still 12 receptions. I mean, that's definitely like super nice to just get 6 points from your running back out of just receptions. And then Gibbs finally exploded for Stu. So this is kind of like he had been getting carried by his wide receivers. Well, carried to 4 and 3, but he'd been getting carried by his wide receivers earlier in the year, and now his like running back showed up. So that's kind of nice for him.
Especially, the conversation around Gibbs in Montgomery and where he fit. So now it'll be interesting to see when Montgomery comes back what the split in workload will be, or if Gibbs continues to produce. I mean, there's no way he doesn't earn more snaps. Pebbles' end. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say tough for Pebbles. Like Olave, Ridley, both just continuing to kind of underperform in those. Like the Ridley one's super weird because like Kirk's still doing well, which is part of my like matchup thoughts later. But I don't know. Only 2 touchdowns, and one's from Waller, who's like also been a hollow husk of himself.
He's husking.
Yeah.
There's the Bijan controversy, his like headache and not getting played, and that whole like, did they report correctly or not? So now there's like an NFL investigation into it. So that sucks. And then also Herbert putting up less than 11 points sucks. Not what you draft Herbert for. Like I don't remember what quarterback he was off the board off the top of my head, but it was early, right?
Probably like 5 or 6, yeah.
So yeah, tough week.
Still 2 and 5 with a good amount of the league. So
yeah, there's a lot of season left, right? We got 6 more regular season games, so a lot can shuffle. We got
7.
Bacon set. Well, no, isn't it 13? It's
14 now.
Is it 14 and 3 or is it 13 and 3? No, you're right. Is it 14 and 3?
Yeah, because I was like, I have the total.
Yeah, you're right. I scrolled down to that. You just yeah. See, we're halfway through, Pebbles. You're fine. This is like a recurring segment in the podcast, is talking Pebbles off a ledge. I mentioned it like weeks ago, and now here we are again. Here's the talk Pebbles off a ledge segment. So it's gonna be okay, buddy.
I haven't asked it. I don't really understand the Costco is where the heart is. Do you know what that means? Maybe home is where the heart is. Costco is because it's cheap. Because the soup.
He like changed it like around the time the soup was happening. That was my guess.
That looked so painful. The like sucking soup out of a can. Like, oh my God.
It was thick. He was like, it was thicker than I was like, oh my God. Yeah, woof. What a creative bet, though. You guys may have stolen it off the internet, but what a creative bet. Big eye roll.
That was a huge eye roll for those listeners.
Next matchup, we got Bacon against Evan. Evan fails to eclipse 100 points, falls to 1 and 6. Looks like the drafting Cup and Cooper on the same team has backfired. Bacon's team continues to roll. 120 is a score that we all would take every single week. Lamar, 33 points, which is insane. And then Kelsey has his best week of the year. In a segment later, we're going to dive into the first round picks. And Kelsey basically has like, I don't want to say caught up, but his like per week performance, especially in week 7. So this last week of all the first round picks, he had the highest score. So it's like, this is who Bacon drafted, even though he missed the first week.
Bacon's definitely getting some like timely blowups from people all over the place. Like Mostert has like the 40 pointer, and then Moore had like 45 points against me, and Kelsey obviously is always due, and Taysom Hill finally, did really well for a tight end. So like, I don't know, like he's getting it when you need it. Like you said, 120 is nice.
He does have to sweep his home gym, because the kicker scored 0 points. We played Villainous with Robin and Bacon on Sunday, and we brought up, well, I'd have to sweep the walk, and Bacon actually presented, if my kicker gets 0, I'll sweep the gym. He since has allegedly pulled his back, so I don't know if we're gonna get a sweeping the gym video anytime soon, but that was
It sounds pretty bad. So some of the Bay guys were supposed to go to we're going to the Warriors Kings game
He
up in
can't make it.
Sacramento. Well, he's now questionable.
Oh God.
O'Malley said, hopefully he can get a practice in so he's a full go, but we'll see. Didn't sound good.
Sweeping the gym could be a nice little practice.
Yeah.
A little nice little warm up. Damn, that would suck if he can't go. We're pulling for you, Bacon. On Epic side, Jonathan
Positive vibes.
sets up a great game. I saw today that Zach Moss didn't practice and now is questionable. So this might be the changing of the guard week if Moss can't go. My thought, I mean, there's a lot going on here, but the thing that stuck out to me the last few weeks is that Jordan Love has like regressed back to who we thought he was after like exploding in the first few days. And so because of that, Evan might have a little bit of a quarterback situation. I mean, he chose the correct one between the two, but 15 is not what you want at your quarterback. So a situation to monitor.
Definitely feels like Evan just got like kind of a bad week for too many players in a row when you expect more out of Adams, Ayuk, and Cup kind of on average. Like maybe one of them will have one of those games that they put up or be below 10, but for all of them to be below 10 when you count on them is tough. Tough to overcome.
Yep. Next matchup, we got O'Malley and Bill. I think we just speed up through this section here.
Yeah.
Bill takes the W. O'Malley scores over 100, although he's still 2-5. Josh Allen goes off. Gabe Davis is kind of coming back to the mean after all those 4 weeks of scoring a touchdown. McCaffrey gets to the end zone again after being questionable. We had a nice little chat in the group me about if Bill had started Mitchell instead of McCaffrey and how we have negative points, but still would have won by a narrow margin. So that would have been fun. On O'Malley's side, he's got a bunch of double-digit performances out of a number of players, but doesn't have a tight end who can consistently score. Did he make a move on the wire this week? Do we know for another tight end? Because there were many available.
I'm not sure.
But did you get McBride? I just saw someone got McBride here. Whatever, this is kind of a left turn. Kincaid goes to, Weaver with Logan Thomas, which is freaking great. Bill gets McBride. Okay, so O'Malley is rolling with Komet, at least for now, who got 0 points this past week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. O'Malley's kind of relying on some sketchy dudes, which is a bit of a bummer. And Lawrence is now hurt. So I don't know, O'Malley had a tough week, both with the result and with kind of trend. Great team.
Next matchup, we got Weaver with another week, another ankle injury. This one to Mr. Ford. This was the battle of the Sleepy Joes, and one Sleepy Joe won. Mahomes goes off against the Clippers as was projected, although Josh Palmer on the other end of that matchup has a great week, 15 points, 133 receiving yards is a great number. To Stu's chagrin, Dustin Hopkins puts up
Wow.
19 points. Actually, I think he commented on the last podcast that this could be a kicker battle of note, Butker versus Hopkins. So that's fun to revisit. And on Weaver's end, we get a good game out of St. Brown. Ford has a phenomenal game, but goes down. He had some buys, though. Pollard was on a buy. Burrow was on a buy. Those guys will be back in his lineup this week. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a down week for a team on the top. Sure, will bounce right back. Not this week, though, because he's playing yours truly. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, we're both now. Wow, they're both 5-2 and third and fifth place. Yeah, I mean, Brad only had 4 guys go double digits. Weaver had 3. So, like, if you just think about it that way, it's not that big of a like. They both had a lot of guys go sub 10, but Mahomes putting up their like getting 20 over Gino, and then your kicker getting 12 over the other kicker is tough to overcome. So, and then Keenan Allen just kind of is going like the Herbert thing. I don't know. I think he'll bounce back.
Yeah. There was I don't know. You said you were kind of in and out on Sunday, but there was a play where Keenan roasted his dude on the end zone and Herbert missed him. It was like a double move where the cornerback bit super hard and it was literally just like hit Keenan in the corner wide open and it missed. And it was like that probably it wouldn't have changed the result in this matchup, but it was just a miss. Sometimes you miss.
Watching those highlights is so triggering. Like what could have been.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Weaver.
Last one, we got Scott and we got yourself. We talked a little bit about how he overcame you on Sunday and Monday night. 118 is still a great score to put up. I mean, looking at this, AJ Brown, I mean, he's been doing this for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was playing Scott in this week where he put up 35. So this is like to be expected.
Yeah.
Watch out. I mean, they're playing Washington this week. I expect another extreme performance, which is good for you and your quarterback. But also getting great special teams play. Cousins, we talked about, over 20 points is great for a quarterback. He's got a solid team, and that's why he's 6-1. Where, on your side, you had a good week too. The Downs maneuver looks phenomenal. I mean, he's an example of one of those guys who, like, the fantasy analysts for weeks have been like, you should think about picking this guy up. And then in our league, it's like he's been managed on someone's team for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so I think that's a great get. I can see why the trade was made, but I wonder if Bill's going to come to regret that if CMC can continue to play and Mitchell finds the bench. What were your musings for your team specifically? Were you proud of this performance? Were there areas to be improved?
The roller coaster of like thinking it was more probable that I was going to win and then lose was tough. I think Cousins outdid his projection by 6 points, and then Hawkinson by 4 points, and AJ Brown by 10 points. Those are his last 3 players to go. So he that kind of like I got caught up in the bush and
it was a fake bush.
It was a fake bush, and he crushed his bush because his team's good. So it's a bummer for sure. I'm handling it a lot better than I was before, but it's good. It's such a bummer because like you make the move for Downs and it's like, oh, it works. It's like, is it going to work again? I don't know. But anyway, I know why. Like Bill, I think it makes sense for Bill to do it because he was like he has plenty of other receivers. He's like kind of it was he had a lot of people that could have done that same trade for. Just went for this one.
Cool. Well, that's our last week in review.
Stand by the trade. I stand by the trade.
Yeah, it makes sense for both. See, trades can't be judged in a microcosm. You got to see a full season value.
Unless they're tight end for running back.
Tight end for running back, in which case you have to click on the photo to then see what player it is, and then you can see what the fuck I'm talking about.
I was like, which one? Like, I mean, context clues, I got it, but like, I swear, until I memed it, then it like popped up. You're like,
You're like, shit.
"Grow, delete."
Very quick atonement bet review. We're still waiting on a shotgun from Evan for him and my matchup. He actually said he gave it the good old college try this weekend, but it started to rain, and so they had to bail on their round.
It was raining on Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, Bill and O'Malley made a shotgun bet for this matchup, which we haven't seen within the group to this point, and that is owed by O'Malley. Lost that matchup. Wonderlick will be done by Pebs. That'll be fun. Hopefully that's a live stream, just like Stu had proposed. Weaver did his 5K, which was owed to Stu, and posted it in the group me. And I did my double apple cider vinegar shot. That was straight up me and Stu. That was interesting because the first shot went down fine, but then there was a little bit of like creep after effect. And then as I was pouring the second shot, it was starting to creep. And I was like, oh man, maybe this is not fine. But
How was
apparently
the
there's
rest of
some
your
good
night? Yeah.
health benefits. I mean, nothing has really happened except for me taking liquid IV every morning because I'm old and I've been drinking over the weekend.
Liquid IV every morning. Oh man.
I should say every other morning.
Okay.
Like last night, I had some wine watching Nightmare Before Christmas. This morning, I had some liquid IV.
Just a little bit of wine, a little bit of IV, a little bit of wine, a little bit of IV.
And that's what you call a mixologist. All right. Next segment that I actually did a little bit of a deep dive in. This is basically reevaluating the first round of picks that we did. If you are watching the video, you'll see this on the screen. If you're not, I will narrate it. But basically, through 7 weeks, I have everyone's first round pick, the order of the pick, and then their positional ranking. So I guess we'll just shotgun do this because everyone wants to hear about their pick. Justin Jefferson currently, this is through 7 weeks. And of course, there's a big asterisk about injuries and buys involved in this. But through 7 weeks, Jefferson, who has been injured, is 11th, which actually is kind of crazy for wide receivers. Pick number 1, pick number 2 by Bill CMC. He is number 1 in running backs. Third overall pick was chased by Stu. He is the 8th wide receiver currently. Brad picked Eckler, who is the 42nd running back who has missed a lot of time, the 4th round pick. 5th was Tyreek Hill and myself. He is the number 1 receiver. They haven't had a bye and he hasn't been injured, although now he's like questionable for this next week. So fuck me right if I'm Weaver. 6th pick was Pebbles Bijan, who is the 11th. 4 running backs currently, and of course, it's after his 0.3 performance this last week because of the headache. 7th overall pick, Travis Kelce, number 1 in tight ends, who has missed 1 game because of injury. Saquon, 8th by Max, 22nd for running backs, has missed 3 games. Evan, 9th. Derrick Henry is the 13th ranked running back. He has had a bye this past week. Chubb is the 67th ranked running back. He's missed all but 2 games at the 10th pick for O'Malley. 11th, Diggs and Scott. He's the number 2 wide receiver. No bye, no injury. And Weaver picked Pollard, the 12th pick, who has been the 16th ranked running back, who has had a bye and also underperformed. Yeah, so I guess immediate thoughts.
I mean, injuries are kind of brutal. O'Malley getting the injury with Chubb. Even then, I didn't really realize that Brad was getting so screwed with Eckler's kind of injuries and then soft last 2 weeks. So
yeah,
it's definitely like a team killer when you don't have your guy, deliver. And or in Stu's case, I'm sure he'd like a little bit more consistency out of Jamar Chase, who's the 8th wide receiver, but he has almost half his points in 1 week. It's like, thanks, but damn, I'd rather anyway. Those are kind of my musings. It's nice when you get the number 1 wide receiver at the 5th pick. The Bacon's happy with Travis Kelce. And then, Scott getting Diggs at the back, who's continues to be a awesome wide receiver, is pretty nice.
Yeah. One thing I just thought of is the difference in point totals for the positions. So McCaffrey is the number 1 running back. Tyreek is the number one wide receiver. Kelsey is the number one tight end. Between McCaffrey and Hill, there's about what is that? 5-point discrepancy. Hill has that advantage, but between those guys and Kelsey, there's like a 60-point difference. So, and I know going into the draft, some positions are going to be valued over others. Now, again, this is with the caveat that Kelsey missed the first week, but it's data like this that makes me like reevaluate the value of each position. That being said, it is kind of a crapshoot. Chubb going down in week 2 sucks. Like you're just shit out of luck. Justin Jefferson going down. Bengals offense. Like if anyone had the 3rd pick, like Stu did, everyone's taking Chase, right? So it's interesting how like the draft will fall as it does, and sometimes you dodge bullets.
Yeah.
Last thing, and I challenge all of you to do this. I was putting this together, and Yahoo has different point values than what these guys have scored, which is kind of crazy to me. So I've done it here. If you want to take a look at this image, it's not for everybody. It looks like it's mostly pass catchers. So I don't know if this is something between our league settings and Yahoo, but for my pick for Tyreek, I added up all of his points, and Yahoo has him at 3 points less than every single week he's scored total. So I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's multiple guys. Like who we got? CMC, Tyreek, Diggs, Chase, and Jefferson. Yeah, all have different point values as compared to what Yahoo is reporting right now.
Weird.
It is weird. Okay, so now we get another fun segment. So I'll pass the baton to you.
It's me. Well, I don't really. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
You can do what you want. Stu did it last week, and I was like, this actually is kind of helpful if people are watching. That being said, I imagine most people are just listening. So do you, boo?
I have my other notes, so I'm gonna have to insert my matchups. All right. This is fun. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, sounds like you're just talking through it. Well, actually, can I screen share options? So, multiple simultaneously. That's kind of weird. I think you just got to talk through it.
I'll just talk through it. So, I was curious. Kind of, we're halfway. You know, what were some of the like? How were we? Just basically nothing deep dive, but where were we last year, and kind of what did that mean ending up? Knowing that like we have a lot of teams at 2 and 5, people in losing records, myself, and you know, what are the odds that you know you can finish and do well? I think I was interested, like some of the top teams last year. You and Scott were tied at 6 and 1 each through 7 weeks, and then you finished 5 and 2 to finish first overall. Obviously, Scott went 3 and 4, kind of just middling, but made the playoffs with a really strong 9 and 5. So kind of bodes well for the teams that are 6 and 1 and 5 and 2. The other ones being, you know, the caveat there being Weaver last year. Sorry, Weaver. I'm always the butt of some bad fun facts, but you were 5 and 2, and then the 2 and 5 result led to 7-7, which was the playoff cutoff last year. I was the one of the 4 7 and 7 teams to make it last year, going 4 and 3 down the stretch. But Bacon, who was 2 and 5, went 5 and 2 to finish 7 and 7, and only missed the playoffs by 6 points on the year. So for us 2 and 5 guys out there, there's still a chance.
Yeah, every point matters. And me looking at this graph you put together is that, yeah, there's a lot of people who had a losing record in the first 7 and had like a winning record in the second 7, which maybe that's not like a crazy take from this, but yeah, like Stu was 1 and 6, and then went 5 and 2. Who else we got? Weaver, that's the opposite. 5 and 2, went 2 and 5. Like you said, Bacon was 2 and 5 and went 5 and 2, right? So there's
you got to go on a roll though. Like if you're in a losing record, you kind of gotta get some wins for sure.
Listener questions. Pebbles hit us up with this is actually a group me segment, but then I just put this into listener questions because this came up between Bacon Weaver and I last weekend. Basically, it was like our conversation between the three of us was, should there be some type of reward for, well, we were specifically talking about those who get into the beer bracket in the playoffs and what's the motivation, right? Like if you are in the Sacco bracket, the motivation is not to get last. If you're seventh and eighth seed, you have a bye. Like, what are you playing for? And so I was agreeing with the thought that, like, if you get seventh, you get like $40 or something like that. Like, what, there's some kind of amount of money where there is a slight reward for winning the beer bracket. So you don't just like check out. And this connects with what Pebbles was saying, is should there be a reward for the lowest score of each week? So personally, I think getting rewarded for seventh is different than getting rewarded for scoring the lowest each week. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'd be curious, like, I don't know if a monetary like prize makes sense for seventh, because then it's like, I'd be pretty annoyed if I was like fifth, sixth game, no chance at the money of third place. And then I had a better overall year, but I'm not going to get whatever seventh gets. So if it's like a fun thing, I'm down. I'm not sure how I feel about diluting the winnings more to the seventh place specifically. So if it's something fun, I'm into that. I think, or it's the people who like kind of like you, that care more about like final placement versus like, I do definitely check out if I'm out of that, like if I'm out of that game, I'm kind of done, but some years more than others. For the weekly one, it's interesting. The only thing I can, like, I don't know, off the top of my head, I don't know if anything should be passed out, but what you could do is like a one-time $5 fab purse. So it's like you have it for this next waiver and that's it, and it can help you boost. So like,
Interesting.
It's not like so overwhelming. Like could be a number that's not so overwhelming that it like displaces the whole 100 that you have all year, but it kind of replaces a little bit of like the waiver priority for the last place team. So I mean, it doesn't even do it perfectly, because last place team would kind of doesn't necessarily score lowest each time, but it could be like a nice little consolation thing. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
one that comes to mind. I don't know what else to do.
that's pretty cool. It's like a free $5. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, you scored the lowest.
It's like you use it, right?
Here's like, yeah, just use this five, whatever waiver you're putting in, just like add $5 to it.
Yeah. In Survivor, you'll get like advantages that are only use it this next time. And so it kind of like changes how people approach like that week. So could add a little bit of like intrigue into the.
Yeah, I wonder what the dominoes would be if I'm someone who doesn't get the lowest score, but now I have to think like I have to add an additional $5 to my
one guy
waiver. Yeah. It's interesting because we're always thinking about ways to like enhance or change the league, or I guess improve, I should say improve the league, if we've been doing it so long. And so that would add another level of complexity that I personally would be interested in. Some more thought. Next question. This is a doozy from Stu. He asked, if each member of our league was a Marvel character, who would they be? So why don't we go through the league from current place, reverse order. So we'll start with Max, and we'll associate everyone with a Marvel character. Oh God, what did I do? Control Z is so nice for documents when you just super fuck up. Okay, Max, what do you think? What are Max's superpowers?
Max's superpowers.
He's smart.
He's smart. He always seems like the adult in the room.
He's business savvy.
Yeah, business savvy. So
family man.
Maybe we're talking about Mr. Fantastic.
That's so funny because I was thinking about Dr.
Doom. Also wear glasses. Dr. Doom?
Yeah. So I said Marvel character, so it could be anybody, right? So that was like my thought, Dr. Doom. But if we go for a hero, yeah, Mr. Fantastic is great. Smart guy, family man, business savvy. That's probably a better one than Dr. Doom, huh? He can be a hero. Mr. Fantastic. Next, we got...
That's what his name is, right? Of the Fantastic Four, it's Mr. Fantastic.
Reed Richards is
Reed
his
Richards.
actual name.
That's who I'm talking about.
Mr. Fantastic is his, yeah. Which, side note, Marvel's gonna redo the Fantastic Four, and
Yeah.
John Krasinski was in Multiverse of Madness as Reed Richards. So I'm personally interested to see if like he's gonna be cast as that guy, if it's gonna be a different guy. I don't know. The multiverse.
That was a different
You can
universe,
do whatever the
Paul.
fuck you want. Yeah,
No,
I
you
know.
can't do it.
So, all right, Evan. What are Evan's superpowers? He's always right. He's
Thanos. So Evan is definitely Thanos because he makes every decision with pure logic. He is always thinking like he's just cut and dry, and he'll you know he'll have to be
has daughters.
has daughters.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't think he'll do that to them though.
Maybe we'll circle
I
back
just
to
found
Evan.
that one funny based on his villain assessment.
He's the worst villain of all time. He's got the worst story. Next, we got O'Malley. O'Malley
This is hard, dude. Like all
balances spreadsheets, hostile takeovers. There's a lot of villains that do that.
likes to argue.
Likes to argue. Yeah. Owns a home.
Ooh, what if we went for owns a home, spreadsheets. What if we did Iron Man?
I was thinking Iron Man too.
Iron Man?
It was. All right, that's good. O'Malley, you're Iron Man. What is that quote? It's like
I am Iron Man.
Billionaire. Yeah.
Billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Philanthropist. Yeah. Billionaire playboy philanthropist is O'Malley.
Yeah.
Pebbles. Okay, we got a few easy ones here. Also a family man, also super smart. Oh, actually, wow, this is fun. No, it's got to be all right. So I have one in mind, but what were you thinking?
I have one in mind, but you go first.
The Hulk is what I was thinking because he's got the muscles, he's got the brain. I also was thinking about the Thing from Fantastic Four. But
the Rock thing.
Yes, it's called the Thing.
Rock
but
Man.
I think the Hulk is more appropriate. PhD similarity.
I think that might make sense. He also like me is one to have an outburst. Yeah, rage out when the outcome.
Adam Smash, Pebbles Smash.
He had an amazing composed furious rant from the bar with Brad. That was amazing. I was shocked. What I was gonna say was mostly like physique based was the Captain America kind of the transformation into like coming out of the
shrimpy guy
to like into this like just God. He's like, oh, I'm in the off season right now, and he's like the most shredded at the draft. And I say most shredded, only shredded one at the draft.
Only shredded. Hear that, O'Malley? This is where O'Malley's villain story.
Yeah, O'Malley's
Thanos story. Next, we have yourself, Adam. Don't trade on me.
Well, I will. Hulk's already been taken.
You'll excuse yourself. Yeah, let's see. A lot of heroes here. You got the Aryanness, just like Thor does. That's a fun connection there.
I could be a depressed Thor, because my season's going Thor? So poorly. Yeah, I could be old fat Thor.
Dad bod Thor. That's pretty good. Here, give me like 15 more seconds to think about this. Yeah, I think it's got to be something with the emotional fluctuations. I was like, it's like, can we fit like Black Panther in here? Now he's pretty calm, cool, and collected. We just talked about Captain America, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge Captain America fan. Am I? He's very like by the book.
What if like Scarlet Witch kind of lets it go every once in a while?
Scarlet Witch, one of my favorites. Yeah, and also very family oriented. Why don't we go Scarlet Witch? Huh? Just like in fantasy, you gotta go with your gut and go with your guys. And so if Scarlet Witch is what you're feeling, then Scarlet Witch is you get it. Get to be.
We're running out of people.
No, we're not. This is a very vast universe.
Something all the major ones.
Nah, There's some more in here, but we just got half the league left. We got Bill. When I saw this question earlier, I had one come to mind. A smaller in stature hero who was very fiery and kind of chaotic and quick with the wit. Rocket Raccoon is who I was thinking.
Oh, oh my
Or
God.
Rocket Raccoon. What were your thoughts?
I don't think Bill was made in a lab. Like,
Have you seen how he can just throw his body around? Maybe he was.
yeah, he's extremely dexterous. He's probably like the most I don't know, I'm always shocked with his ability to just like pick up any game and be like one of the best at it. I don't know how that translates. We can go with Rocket. Yeah, he like seems to put everything together and be good at everything.
Rocket Raccoon, which has two O's in it. Raccoon. Next person. Oh, this is a fun one. We got Stew Daddy.
Hmm.
We've already used. Oh, actually, didn't use Thor Dad Bod because when it's Scarlet Witch was yourself. Although that might be a cop out. So we can give this the old noodle here. Characters we haven't talked about. Doctor Strange, Witchcraft and Wizardry with all of his gadgets, also as a surgeon. We got all the other Guardians of the Galaxy. We got Loki series is happening. There's also Nick Fury in that series that happened. I haven't talked about any of the Captain Marvels. Oh my God. It'd be so funny if
What?
oh my God. So over the weekend, Stu FaceTime Weaver and we actually had a nice long conversation. And within that call, Stu reiterated his dissatisfaction with Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel. So I was just thinking how funny if we're just like, Stu, you're Kamala Khan.
He's one of the, or we could just tie him to her by making him Brie Larson. I don't know how it relates at all, but he's stuck in time. He's, seems older than he is at times with his AARP subscription.
Yeah, okay, I like that. That's a nice callback.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful.
Has strong connections with his friends. She has her one friend that she's like super friend with in the movie that I remember.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, is it more?
I remember. I think we were talking about this podcast about how we're like, was that a romantic relationship?
Romantic?
Maybe, yeah.
We're gay now, so
okay, yeah. There you go, Stu. You get to be Captain Marvel. Which, by the way, I really like that character. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but I like Captain Marvel.
I don't really know what her characteristics are, other than what we just listed.
Never backs down.
Never backs down.
Super hot.
Run around like this.
Run around. Yeah, a lot of running around, tight to the chest. Yeah. All right, so you're Captain Marvel. Next we got Brad and Sleepy Joe. Another home owner. Congratulations again. Suave. Consummate man about town. Good with a quip as well. Successful business wise. We've already used Tony Stark, so we got to think a little.
Yeah, we got to. He definitely
for this one.
He definitely isn't afraid to push the envelope when it comes to his humor and his cuckening and his listening and thatning. I don't know. I got and he's been through a lot of back injuries that he's like kind of rehabbed over time and kind of
my back, my sciatica.
What about Deadpool?
Oh my God, that's great. Okay, wow, that's a good one. Yeah. All right, Brad, you're gonna be Deadpool. Yeah, a lot of.
And he's Ryan Reynolds, so witty.
Wow, just wow. That might be the best one, besides Evan and Thanos, of course. Okay, let's see. Next, we got me. All right, I'll excuse myself. I have one person in mind.
Excuse yourself. I had to pick mine. You pick yours. Well, and I'll tell you you're wrong.
How about you give me your opinion and I'll say what I was thinking of. I don't want to lead the witness.
Let's see. You're always down for whatever golden retriever-esque, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, Are you Captain America?
No, no, I think I'm Peter Quill.
Oh, stolen as a child, marooned, raised by wolves, space
Star
wolves,
Lord, Night
Star
Lord.
Lord. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I think a lot of like you do a good job taking jokes on the chin, and you like to rib and be ribbed and kind of get like, I think that that fits pretty well. Yeah, I'll go with
Oh
that.
yeah, Peter Quill. You heard it here first. Quill. Three more people left. Next, we got Weaver.
Hmm.
Weaver's a good Captain America candidate. Motivated by morals, always doing the right thing. Also protects the ones that he loves. Big
Definitely the
family
consummate Boy
oriented.
Scout. He and O'Mal's are the
The
leaders of
Eagles.
the Eagle Scouts. We've already placed O'Malley as the borderline alcoholic Iron Man, so I'm down with Captain America. I would say that like Weaver is also kind of with me and a Pebbles, a one known for a freak out, or a Hulk out, if you will. So just want to
The Weaver freak out. Yeah.
which I'm right there too. So let he who has not had a freak out cast the first freak.
Freak out. Scott. Is Scott Doctor Doom?
No, I was thinking Scott, like doctor calculating. I think Scott's Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going across the
Dabbling
world to
witchcraft
go.
slash medicine. Oh, yeah, a lot of
He
worldwide travels.
travels. He travels over to Minnesota to learn his craft and hone his craft. Doctor Strange traveled to Nepal, I think, as well.
What was that place called? Comertage. Is that right?
Comertage.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Hell yeah, that's a great fit. Sky is Doctor Strange. All right, last but not least, Bacon. First place currently. Calculating, man of few words, but many
Yeah.
actions. Let's see who else we got here. This could be a good Black Panther comp. Cares about his people. Yeah, motivated by doing the right thing.
Yeah. But like with that kind of like Spartan, wisely chosen words, and always thinking like long term and kind of like what's best for everybody. I like that.
All right, Bacon gets to be the Black Panther.
Damn it.
Should we? Okay, to go through them. Max is Mr. Fantastic. Evan is Thanos. O'Malley is Iron Man. Evan's the only villain on this list, by the way. Pebbles is the Hulk. Well, I guess Scarlet Witch could be conceived as a villain.
I'm villain.
Yeah. Bill, Rocket Raccoon, Stu, Captain Marvel, which is great. Brad is Deadpool.
Anti-hero. That's almost villain sometimes.
Yeah. Pushes the boundaries. Kind of rides that line, that gray area. Very Brad. Colin is Star Lord, Peter Quill. Weaver, Captain America, Scott, Doctor Strange, and Bacon, Black Panther. Great listener questions, Stu. We are over an hour in. We got our week.
Yeah, that took way too
long. And then we'll get out of here. All right. So now week 8.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with, these will be live picking for me.
Sounds good.
Bill versus Evan. What do you think?
Let me pull it up. Bill versus Evan. Oh, so bleak. I went with Evan, I think. And let me see why. I went with Thanos.
He's inevitable.
My fun things in this one, I think it's gonna be interesting. Bill has so many people going Thursday with both Evans and then his Stackle, so should be fun to see. Like, always nice to see, like,
early offense,
some early offense, or just like, what's going on? Is it going to give too much hope one way or the other? Yada yada yada. But I'm leaning towards Evans, since I think he has more solid players, where I think Bill's kind of count on his superstars. So one kind of recurring theme is I feel like there's a lot of good defensive matchups throughout these. So we'll get into them. But like, Kansas City should crush Denver, but the Jets should crush the Giants. So I don't know. I think I leaned Evan on this one.
Yeah, this matchup definitely has a high potential for special teams scoring in both the defensive assignments and the kickers. This one's tough. We talked about JTT potentially assuming more of the workload. Brees Hall is going to be back against those Giants, who again we expect the Jets to be favored in that one. I'm gonna take Bill. I mean, these bushes are comparable, and they're actually all both pretty high compared to the rest of the league. The tipping point for me in looking at this right now is that Darnold's going to start for the Niners, and they're probably going to lean on McCaffrey a little more, and the Bengals defense is a little suspect. So I think this could be a big game for CMC. So I'm taking Bill. Next matchup, one of the fan favorites, and wow, huge bushes in this one too. We got Stu versus Scott. Tale as old as time. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I think I have this as the matchup of the week for sure. Both for the history, but then all like I think they were rivals to start, and like they would always, post up at the Marley House. So this is the Marley House game. I think I went with Scott. Just like it's super close to me, but I went with Scott. I just faced him, and it was his receivers are brutal. I think there's a lot of really cool matchups. Pacheco, Kamara is cool. ETN will probably outperform Harris, but I just think the combination of like Diggs, Brown, Cooper is gonna outperform Nakua, Pickens, Chase, Gibbs. I think Gibbs isn't gonna do another 20-pointer. So that's my go.
Yeah, this one's definitely interesting and probably tighter than what the Bush is showing, just because Diggs and Brown on a weekly basis can explode. Quick thoughts that I was having is Stu's got both Laporta and Gibbs going on Monday night against the Raiders, who have a better than thought defense, but the Lions definitely are favored. And so I'm curious if both of those guys can have good games or if it's going to be more pass heavy or run heavy. Stroud's being started for the first time, I think, for Stu, which is cool against Carolina, his Panthers. Texans favored in that one. It's at Carolina. Hockencock didn't practice today on Scott's side, so he might not have that stackle. Yeah, even though Stu has the Bush right now, and this is including Chase going up against that SF defense, I'm also going to take Scott. I think the Diggs Brown combination is just insane. And then, like you said, Pacheco in the game, the Chiefs are super favored, is probably going to get a lot of work against Denver. So I'm also going Scott.
I think it's super close.
Yeah. Bacon versus Max, another fun one. This is the first place team versus the 12th place team. In looking at this, I mean, we talked about Addison and his game, his coming out party. So I expect him to outperform his 11-point Bush. Metcalf doesn't have the injury designation anymore. He missed last game, but that's a boon for Max, who actually was just a ton of injuries last week. It's tough to pick against Bacon. I mean, I feel like on this podcast every single week we've been talking about how he's on a roll. I mean, Mostert is questionable, but Nico Collins against Carolina is a good matchup. DJ Moore against the Clippers is a great matchup. Lamar Jackson against Arizona is an insane matchup. So yeah. I think I'm going to go with Bacon.
Yeah, I went with Bacon for like it's funny because I talked about like he just keeps getting guys blowing up that are ballooning his like scores into the 140s all the time, right? But like it could happen easily this week. Like so it's hard to go against that. I do think one thing that I bucked on was the car starting for Max. Don't start the car. Dak's on his bench who could like kind of swing this a little bit more to even, but I just think counting on Jackson, Mostert, Kelsey to not blow up one of those guys, like I just think he's gonna blow up. Like I go with Bacon.
Agreed. Pebbles and Sleepy Joe. That's right, the Northwest matchup. By the way, I love this. What's the term? Just like the
redistribution.
No, the collab between Pebbles and Brad, right? I mean, I think we're all obviously good friends and like we can all hang out at a moment's notice, whoever in the league. But it's a great like pairing, and I really enjoy that we got some content from Sunday from those two guys. But yeah, that's the matchup. Brad's got the Bush lead right now. Pebbles is kind of reeling. He's had many losses in a row. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, sorry, Pebs. I'm gonna choose against you. I went with Sleepy Joe and his shades. I think Pebs has two Cardinals going against the Ravens, which have arguably been the best defense in the league. I don't even know if it's arguable, but they're awesome. And then Herbert hasn't been lighting it up like we talked about. Interesting matchup of Ridley versus Kirk. Kirk's been winning that one consistently. So there aren't just a lot of things that make me say, oh, this is the time that Pebbles team bounces back. I mean, the interesting is like I'd be excited for DeMarcado because he like turned it around, but then they're going against the Baltimore Ravens, which is tough. So I went with that.
There's a lot of cross pollination in this matchup. We got Herbert on Pebbles' side, and then we got Palmer and Eckler on Brad's side. So like that's kind of, I mean, you always favor the skilled players in that distribution. Kirk and Ridley, who we talked about. DeMarcado is so funny because Bacon like threw so much fab at him and then dropped him, and then now Pebbles got him, which I think he might have been unopposed in that bid. I don't know. Pebbles spent 17 smackers on both Kincaid and on DeMarcado. And Kincaid, there was some other bids, but not for DeMarcado. So that's 17 spent. So a healthy investment there. I think if you're Pebbles, you got to make some moves. So totally understand it. Yeah, tough matchup against the Ravens this week. And actually, they play the Browns the week after. So that's another tough one. And then Connor's back. So obviously, Pebbles is hoping for some production in the next 2 weeks. But
yeah, I mean, he'll like the guy got 13 carries and 5 targets last week. So and almost broke 10 points. So I don't know. It's good enough volume to play.
100%. Also, we got Kyler Murray for Pebs waiting in the wings, who had a full practice today. So that'll be interesting. I'm also going with Brad in this matchup, though.
Okay.
Next, we got the People's Pod matchup. We got myself versus Weaver. In this one, I'm obviously riding with myself, although there's a lot of question marks for my team.
I saw that.
My worries are, one, Hill, it has some kind of like hip illness that there's like all this conjecture that he might miss this week. And people are like trying to twist like Tua's words and saying he will miss this week. So obviously a concern. But in general, the Dolphins against the Patriots is tough. Like they had like one of their worst games against them, and I lost that week previously.
Yeah.
So that's already stacked against me. Running backs, we talked about earlier, had like plug and play and some like stuff that I found on the waiver wire or trades. Johnson's coming back for the Bears, so definitely going to cut into Foreman's work. Also, Hunt didn't practice today, who I was going to lean on because Ford is out, who's actually had a string of great weeks, as those posts without names denoted in the group me. But he is questionable. So yeah, a lot of cues for old Gall. Where on Weaver, I mean, he's not without his own. Both Lockett and Jones are questionable, but we've got some great players. Okay, we talked about Keenan Allen narrowly missing a touchdown. Brown is getting a ridiculous amount of targets every week. I mean, 15 and 19 in the past 2 weeks. Granted, they were down big against the Ravens, so that gave me a different game script against the Raiders. But this one's going to be tight and an exciting one. We also get to see Joe Burrow against the Niners, who we just saw Kirk Cousins have a lot of success against. With that being said, I've won 3 games in a row, and I'm going with myself. And actually, I'm just realized that luck charm in doing so. So I'm going to pick myself, and then you'll get that good luck charm while you talk about your pick.
Okay. Going solo. Need someone to hold my hand. I'm going with Weaver, if you can hear me. Yeah, what you said is what stood out to me. Not only are you staring down 2 injured Dolphins, there's a whole little red rainy cloud situation going on over here. So you have, your biggest hitters against the New England defense, which have been tough, but at the same, they lost a bunch of guys, but I think like if they're going to show up, it's for these like they just beat the Bills. They're going to show up for like these in division games. Like you kind of bet on the Dolphins, and I think this is a week where it hits you negatively for that purpose, for that reason. So I'm going to go with Weaver because I still think, to your point, he still is like Allen. Burrows had another week to rest up. Pollard's coming off a bye. Brown still awesome. Out like his team obviously is like hurt now with his running backs going down with ankle after ankle, and Jones still isn't back to 100% in week 7, which is probably super frustrating. But I think Weaver still has more guys ready to go to beat you.
In thinking about Weaver's team, like 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, he was like, I got way too many running backs. I got Williams, who's popping off. I got Ford, who's now the starter. I got Cam Akers, who was just acquired by the Vikings to be a guy. And now none of those 3 guys can play for him. So it's kind of like the peaks and valleys of this season. We all like to like blow up and rabble about like things in the moment. And I think this is actually like a communal exercise for taking, right? I think this year more than any is just like, let's all take a breath before we like freak out about something. But he's definitely been going through the ringer, although he's still 5-2 in 3rd place with great points for.
Well, that's like the thing is like, it's so hard to like, wait until the next week, like in the moment, it's like, oh, these injuries are all happening to me and nobody else. And it's like Weaver has had a bunch of like the running back injuries happen to him, but it's like, if like he obviously has like a bunch of depth at receiver that's going to help. And like the reason you have depth at a position is so that when all of your running backs get hurt, you still can start Pollard and potentially Jones. So I think he's like probably fine, but yeah, I mean, if those 2 ankle injuries happen to anybody else, their team is gonna lose. So he's set himself up for that.
I've been,
but yeah, I'm taking Weaver.
Yeah, I got that.
I'm taking Weaver.
Yeah, I got that.
I'm gonna take Weaver.
I've been noodling, potentially swapping out Goff for Tua. I don't think I'm brave enough, but I think that would be kind of fun. Because he's
So
playing
brave.
against the Raiders. I think it would be brave because I'm super leaning into the stack, but Tua's kind of been boomer busting himself. Seems like the receivers when they play are fine, but with picks and like not like a bunch of touchdowns thrown. Yeah, Tua's just not a lock. Whereas I don't know, I got another quarterback. I picked up Goff for a different reason than this week, but he's playing in a good matchup in a dome. His points are basically the same projected as Tua, so I don't know. And because Weaver's got St. Brown, I thought it would be kind of funny to kind of negate some of those points. Probably not brave enough, probably not, but we'll see. We'll see what happens Sunday morning. For me,
You've only got 3 days to tinker. 4 days. Where are we? What day is it?
Thursday, Friday, Thursday. 4 days.
I'm
5
picking
days?
Weaver. I will not weigh in on what I think you should do.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Side note, I actually am coaching the Federales in an Irvine tournament this weekend, so I will not be able to watch or really participate much, which always leads to my own anxiety. Last matchup, we got another fun one. This is a week full of fun matchups. We got an Adam
was hard
and
to choose this
O'Malley
week.
matchup.
It was really hard to choose.
The classic Buckaroos. This one is a 49 to 51% Bush. Probably should be 50-50 because it's like less than a point difference.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. 0.85. 1% each way.
Looking at the starters right now, I did like your savvy pickup of the Atlanta defense against whoever the hell the Titans are going to be trotting out there at quarterback. But on the basically, O'Malley's got Tennessee against the Falcons, so that's fun.
This might be the 3rd time in a row, or no, it can't be the 3rd. Like I had the Pebbles defense going. We had our defenses going against each other. Like it's kind of fun, like to just watch that matchup and see who comes out on top.
That is really funny. It's watching your defense is like a different kind of, I don't know, experience than watching like a player, right?
Throw a pick.
Yeah, or like the like there's a bobbled pick by like one of the fucking stone hand linebackers, like, and then like a field goal's kicked the play after, and you're like, that's a crazy point swing.
Or I get so mad when like the offense for my defense like turns it over in plus territory, and you're just like, you're ruining me.
Yeah, I was going through it watching the Saints last Thursday, or the Jaguars played the Saints because I had the Jags defense. Both strong teams. I'm
Two
trying
and
to look at
five
this.
teams, super strong.
I mean, like we talked about earlier in this segment or this podcast, like you're not dead yet. You're not dead yet.
Well, we both really need this win if we're gonna go on any type of run. So it's kind of do or die for both of us.
You
What
got
do you
old
who's your
man
pick?
Thielen back into your lineup. That's great. I'm sure he'll outscore his projections. Oh, although I think Houston is like sneaky good against receivers. Yeah, so we'll see. But he's like the funnel for Bryce Young, so that'll be a good one. I feel like O'Malley's team is very boomer busty. I mean, with Lamb and Higgins and Williams for Denver, and obviously Kmet got 0 fucking points last week. It's just like
No.
he's more relying on those like fluctuations where I think your team's a little more consistent. Definitely some. I feel like you have some more like. I think his team is more talented. And like if you were like to match up the players 1-on-1, but that doesn't mean he's gonna win because like we've had underperforming seasons for both Lamb and Higgins and others on his team. Lawrence is banged up, like you said. This one is really tough. I think. Oh man, I'm gonna go with you, and I'm gonna do that because you have Hertz and Swift going against Washington in a game that the Eagles are favored. I think Washington's a good defense, but I kind of feel like the game is gonna go similar to how it went against the Dolphins, where like they go up by a few scores and then just like run it out. Although maybe we'll see more Gainwell action.
Him getting that
Okay,
touchdown
dude.
was horrifying.
Uh,
But
yeah, I'm gonna pick you. Although I will say O'Malley's got obviously great players, but the Jacoby Myers against Detroit on Monday is a good spot. I mean, he's put up 4 double-digit weeks in the last 5 weeks. So I expect that to continue against the Lions.
yeah, I'm pretty nervous considering like I mentioned, we both just have to like whoever loses this game is basically out of the playoffs. I think what notes did I make? My running backs are putting performances together, and I think my wide receivers are under Bush. So I was pretty like down on my running backs earlier on. Hence like some of the moves I made earlier, but they've actually like rounded generally into form where I think two of them like 2 of my 3 are going to do what I need them to do, and then I do think Thielen, Downs, Deontay should all beat their projections. Like I just believe in them more, and I think some of those I so I think I'm going to beat my Bush. I think he's going to probably hit his. And so I think I'm going to eke it out. But I'm nervous because his cues don't look as serious. And like you said, he could easily like boom between Godwin, Lamb, Higgins, Walker. I mean, I'd take those 4 guys in a like if I'm starting a team, I'm probably going to take each of those over like Johnson, Downs, Thielen, Swift right now.
Right.
Maybe not like Deontay Johnson's like good, but he's obviously coming like starting from nothing right now. This is week 2. So anyway, I think there's like I'm nervous to say it, but I think I'll pull it out. I'm hoping.
You got to believe, like you said, it's a
I'm
win or
betting on
go
myself.
home almost time. Well, thanks for joining. That's all the content we have
Hey,
for you all today.
I didn't even think about this. Reminder,
Oh, that's fun. Yeah,
it's
show
gonna
that belt.
will me to victory.
Yeah, you earned it. You earned that thing. Uh, all right. Well, thanks everybody. Good luck to everyone except for Weaver. And we'll be in the group meet.
Thanks for having me.